Everybody, welcome back to another episode of Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a fantastic day and that you're looking after yourselves and one another. In this episode of Music Den, we're going to be doing something different. In light of the massive 8 CD box set of Broadsword and the Beast, the Monster Edition that is coming out on September 1st, I have my copy pre-ordered. I hope you guys have your copy pre-ordered. I'm going to be doing my top 3 Jethro Tull albums. Okay. Now, Jethro Tull, for those of you who don't know, massively successful progressive rock band from England, forming in the 1960s, late 60s, signing to Chrysalis Records, releasing a string of hit albums in the 70s, all the way up until the 2020s, the latest release being Rock Flute, and the release before that is Out Gene on Inside Out Music. Some would say that their most successful period would be in the 70s, and I'd have to agree. Most notably, the albums that people refer to when they talk about Jethro Tull are Aqualung from 71, Thick as a Brick from 72, A Passion Play from 73, but they have a bunch of fantastic albums. So I will attempt to rank for you my top 3 Jethro Tull albums. Now, just because the albums that I picked that come in at number 3 doesn't mean that the album is substandard in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But when you do these lists, the albums have to go somewhere. So here we go. Coming in at number 3 is indeed Broadsword and the Beast. Released in 1982. This saw Jethro Tull at a point of a bit of a crossroads in their existence. The classic lineup, consisting of Barrymore, Barlow, John Evan, Dee Palmer, Martin Barre, and Ian Anderson. Ian Anderson, it's got to be said, has been considered the heart, soul, essence of Jethro Tull. Dee Palmer has said in one documentary in particular, that Ian Anderson is in fact Jethro Tull. They were at a bit of a crossroads. Again, the lineup consisting of Barlow, Evan, Palmer, Barre, and Anderson, after the Stormwatch tour had basically gone their separate ways. Barrymore Barlow has said that he, at that point, was quite frustrated with the direction the band was going in, so he wanted to leave. Ian Anderson, at this point, wanted to go off in a bit of a different direction. The trio of albums that were released in the late 70s, Songs from the Wood, Heavy Horses, and Stormwatch, were considered a trilogy of folk music. And listening to them, I would have to agree. So I think that when the 80s began, he wanted to start something different, just go off in a bit of a different direction. He was working on a solo album, which was named A. He had every intention in the world to release it as a solo album, but due to pressure from Chrysalis Records and Terry Ellis, they wanted it released as a Jethro Tull album. Ian Anderson has gone on record as saying that he regrets doing that completely, and that he should never have released A as a Jethro Tull album, due to the fact that it was sonically different, more modern sounding, with electric drums and sequencing. I believe sequencing at this point was in its infancy, but using a lot more keyboards, etc. But back to Broadsword and the Beast. Yes, it is my number 3. The album, I feel, is a bit of a hybrid between the Jethro Tull was going to say Genesis, Jethro Tull of the 70s with the acoustic instruments, using of the flute, the subject matter of, adventures of yesteryear kind of thing, mixed with modern instrumentation with the electronic drums, etc. It's a fantastic album. It is. It was given criticism for its overuse of keyboards. I mean, since when does somebody get, blasted for trying something new? You know what I mean? Songs like Beastie is great. Clasp, another fantastic track. Fallen on Hard Times, which was one of the singles. Flying Colors, great track. Slow Marching Band, which is one of the more, I guess, folk-oriented tracks on the album. Broadsword starts off side 2, and when I hear that track, I think of, you standing on a cliff, on the shore, I should say, not on a cliff. Don't want to fall off, but standing on the shore, the wind is whipping around you, you're covered, and you're being hit with water, like the ships are coming in, it's got that Game of Thrones kind of feel, right? Along with Pussy Willow, which comes next. Watching Me, Watching You, again, another fantastic song. Seal Driver, again, it talks, it deals with like adventures of yesterday kind of feel. And it ends with Cheerio, which is like a minute and change. This song had been performed live in concert prior to the release, putting it on the album and releasing it with a studio version. Great album. But of the 3 that I will be talking about, it is by far the weaker one of the 3. Coming in at number 2, this is a bit of a toss-up for me right now. Coming in at number 2 is Songs from the Wood. Released in 1977, seen as the first of the trilogy of, more folk-oriented albums. Heavy Horses followed, and Stormwatch was the last of the trio. Songs from the Wood, even the album cover, I mean, he's sitting in a field, okay, legs crossed, dressed for the warmth, right? Dressed for the cold, I should say. It's like a late autumn afternoon kind of a feel. The harmonies on the lead off track and the title track are amazing. It has that, come ye, O merry gentlemen, kind of a feel to it. In the track, and the harmonies that Ian Anderson was able to do, he had the ability to multi-track himself, singing, doing the harmonies. Great. And other songs like Jack in the Green and Cup of Wonder follow the same route, right? I mean, just fantastic. Hunting Girl, another great song. Ring Out Solstice Bells ends off side 1. The most holiday-oriented track on the album. You could almost see this as a Christmas time song that can be sung along with, Christmas carols. I love this song. I love the feeling of it. I think it's great. Velvet Green starts off side 2. And this one, along with the Whistler, has again that feeling of uh, stories of old, stories of yesteryear kind of feel to it. The Whistler was released as a single, and it does again have that sort of like, come around, come around, all ye gentlemen, and hear me tell you of my tales of and adventures of yesteryear kind of thing. Fantastic. Uh, the most rocking track on the album that clocks in at just over 8 minutes, something like 8 minutes and 35 seconds. Amazing. Is the track P. Brock, Cap in Hand. Intricate, complicated, layered, textured, 7 minutes plus, something like that. Or something like 8 minutes. I'm sorry. Fantastic guitar from Martin Barre. I love the fact that it has different sections, different solo sections. You have Martin Barre doing his guitar soloing, fantastic. You have Dee Palmer doing his keyboard organ playing, just amazing, just amazing. Heavy as all get out, seriously. And one of the strongest tracks on the album, it's got to be said. Fire at Midnight ends the album, just 2 minutes plus. And it has this feeling of coming home at the end of the day, sitting around the fire, or sitting in front of the fire with a warm drink and just reflecting on the day and the adventures that you've had, or the day you've had, and just falling asleep wrapped in a blanket. And that's it. Right? And that's number 2, Songs from the Wood. Coming in at number 1 is Stormwatch. Released in 1979. This, to me, this album screams winter. If Songs from the Wood is a fall album, Stormwatch for me is a winter album. Just look at the cover, the illustration of him, with the binoculars looking out at the sea ahead, and the ships coming in. It's amazing. It is amazing. Starts off with North Sea oil. Great. Again, Orion is next. There's a lengthier version of Orion on the 2019 box set of the album that was released. I think the extended version clocks in at 4 minutes and change. Home is next. Again, all these songs have this element of folk lore, you know what I mean, like of stories of yesterday kind of a thing. Dark Ages is next. Dark Ages, bloody hell, 9 minutes and change. Fantastic, intricate, layered, textured track with keyboards and guitar, provided so brilliantly by Dee Palmer and Martin Barre, respectively. This song clocks in at 9 minutes and change on the 2019 box set. There is an 11-minute, 55-second version of this track. Effing brilliant. I don't want to swear. Effing brilliant. Amazing. Warm. Okay. Next track. Warm Speron. The instrumental that ends off side 1. Sorry, I had to adjust myself there. Again, fantastic. The fact that they were able to end side 1 with an instrumental is great. What I like about this album so far is the fact that they're reaching back into their past. musically, using flutes and things of that nature, and acoustic guitars. But they're going towards the future. They're starting to go towards the future. Side two starts off with Something's on the Move, and again, fantastic. Old Ghosts, another good track. Dunringil is another beautifully constructed track. Again, I love the fact that they use, the acoustic elements of previous albums mixed with modern instrumentation, and it's great. It is fantastic. Flying Dutchman is next, and every track on this album, or on all these albums, but especially this one, Ian Anderson is a spinner of stories. He just weaves stories, out of thin air. He can come up with lyrical ideas like nobody can. And you always have to listen to the tracks in the albums as a whole. Like, it's not just one track. These albums for me they're all a cohesive piece of music, right? I think that if you listen to the tracks separately, you're missing out on something in terms of what he's trying to tell you in terms of the storylines. Elegy is next. Final track on the album, instrumental, written by Dee Palmer. Another great track. Mixing acoustic and keyboard elements with electric guitar from Martin Barre. Martin Barre plays his ass off on all these albums. He plays his ass off on all of these albums. You know what I mean? So any one of these albums that you buy, you're not going to go wrong, right? You're going to be entertained as long as you're open to being drawn into another world, another time, another place. You're going to love this. So that's my list. Coming in at number 3, Broadsword and the Beast. Coming in at number 2, Songs from the Wood. And coming in at number 1, Stormwatch. Fantastic. Now, I wanted to talk to you about something I read about when I was looking up the research for this episode. It's got to do with Broadsword and the Beast versus A. Now, people have said, A was not a good album for Jethro Tull to do. It is different. There's no way around that. The instrumentation is more modern, a lot more. I can hear a lot of sequencing going on. I do believe that sequencing was in its infancy, or wasn't used much in terms of rock albums. I like this album. I don't know why it didn't do as well. I mean, songs like Protect and Serve and Black Sunday and Crossfire, the lead-off track, Flying Dale Flyer, Working John, Working Joe. I mean, they're great. I mean, they are fantastic. Batteries Not Included. Okay, it's not one of the better ones. Uniform is good. 4WD is another fantastic track. Again, I don't know why people were having an issue with this album. I agree, this should have been released as a as a Ian Anderson album. I don't believe it should have been released as a Jethro Tull album. But record companies, if they feel they can make a buck off of an artist, they will make a buck. I mean, even the instrumental. Sorry, I just messed up. The Pine Martyrs Jig. It's amazing. It's a good track. It's a really good track. Again, should have been released as a Jethro Tull album. No. But the flip side of that coin is, and I want to get people's opinions on this too, down below. But the flip side of the coin is, for that, when is an artist allowed to stretch, to flex their musical muscles, to do something different that is out of the norm for them? I don't know. I don't understand. I don't know why we don't allow our artists to do something that's different. We may not always like what they release as albums, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be allowed to basically do whatever they want to do. It's their music. They have that right. So in terms of A versus Broadside of the Beast, for example, I don't think A is a bad album. I think it's a more modern sounding album. Sorry. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad album. I think Ian Anderson was just trying to do something different. And I think he succeeded in what he wanted to do. Should he have been pressured to release it as a Jethro Tull album? No. If he didn't want to do it, he shouldn't have done it. But that's just my opinion. So, but in comparison to Broadsword and the Beast, A is the weaker of the two. Is it bad? No. Is it a stronger album than Broadsword? No. But at least Ian Anderson was allowed to do what he wanted to do musically. Okay. So that's it for now. That's my ranking. And that's my little spiel on A. So, and by the way, the box sets for A, Songs from the Wood, and Stormwatch are all still available to pick up. You might have to pay a little more for Songs from the Wood, but that's the way it goes with these box sets. Some of the box sets, or most of the box sets, when they're done the initial run, people will try and resell them for as high as like $400. So if you can find it for at least 100 or 150, grab any one of these sets that you can find. So that's it for now. Please, down below, please let me know what you think of my ranking. What is your top 3 Jethro Tull albums? What do you think of A? Are you going to be getting Broadsword and the Beast, the Monster box set? Let me know down below, and click like and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content that I've got coming up. I have been in contact with Peter Kent. We are going to be doing a discussion video on Black Sabbath Sabotage. I have my box set beside me here. I'm going to be giving it a good listen in the next couple of days and making notes. And I'm also going to be doing a show with Bill Schuster coming up on Joe Jackson and the elusive Pink Floyd album ranking. Hopefully Ryan Gavalier can join us for the Pink Floyd album ranking. Ryan's been really busy these past few weeks releasing a new album, but hopefully he can join us. So that's it for now. Please take care of yourselves and one another, and I will see you again for a new episode. Bye for now.